order. And we want to welcome all of our guests. Thank you all for coming. Roll call, Ms. Laura Cobb. Here. Emmett Owens. Here. Terry Hendricks. Here. Roger Hill. Here. We have a quorum. This time we'll have a pledge of allegiance. And Ms. Cobb, I think if you don't mind, saying a prayer for me. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, thank you for having us here tonight and guiding us, Father. Father, I pray that we'll just make godly decisions and that you'll just uplift every and each one of us here tonight, Father. I pray that you will be with those that have heavy hearts, Father, that you will be with those that have lost loved ones. Father, I pray that you will just lead and guide us through this meeting and all, and just help us make godly decisions. Father, just be with everyone as they leave tonight and take them home safely. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
While I'm thinking about it, comments from citizens, I did have a gentleman who thought he was going to be on the agenda, but he forgot to call me. But if y'all hear anything about it, Mr. Forsyth, Jamie Forsyth, will come speak with y'all in a work session or a meeting. Y'all let me know where y'all like them to come, but about putting duck, I guess the little duck houses out on the river and stuff. So I don't know if any of y'all talked to him or anything. About putting duck houses out on the river. There's some sort of possible grant with the state conservation or something.
I think he's trying to get a grant to do that.
Okay.
And I don't know, I never really understand why he would talk to us, but I told him that we didn't have any money.
But and then we have several officials here that have asked to speak with the commission. Patrick is coming up to speak. I know John's had surgery today.
It was last week.
Come on up, Patrick.
So I'm just going to be real quick. There's another check from Gov Deals for some surplus equipment that we sold. That check is for $3,399. We've gotten rid of all these vehicles, which is a little over $10,000. So I just wanted to give you all a report of that. That's all the county vehicles right now that we have surplus to be getting rid of. I know that we do have some that will be going to our drug fund that we will be looking at shortly. The second thing, I just want to put something in y'all's mind to be thinking about. We've got a little bit of a problem, but I think it's a good problem. The individual that we hired full-time to pick up trash is, he ran out of room. Lee had to get him another dumpster. But we've got an issue with the trailer that he's using. It's too small. They had to haul a skid tire, and once he loaded a skid tire in that trailer, he was completely out of room for anything else. So I would just like to ask for the commission to be thinking about maybe a bigger trailer that he could utilize.
Where's that big trailer that we bought the last time? We had a big trailer that would haul tires.
We surplus it, sold it to the city.
That's the reason why I seen it there.
But we need something with high side bodies and, maybe a side gate and then also the rear gate. That way it would be easy for, trash and tires. So if y'all would be thinking about that, and I don't know how we need to approach that, but
Yes.
Now, we've got some trailers over, I don't know how big you're talking, we've got almost trailer 4 over there by the jail. I know Fred's got 3 or 4, but I don't know how big they are.
What we're looking at is something double axle at least. We don't need nothing real big and heavy, but with the amount that he's getting off the roadways, it would be nice to have something a little longer, double axle. That way it's easier to pull, easier to handle.
And a little short trailers, he has a hard time backing up.
So, and like I said, I think that's a good problem to be having, considering, you know, this is something that's picked up and he's ran with, he's done a great job. I tried to get him to come up here with me a while ago, but he had a meeting to go to himself, so.
He is doing a good job, and he follows up, he calls me and follows up on everything. If he can't finish it, he calls and tells me when he's gonna finish it. But can you find out how much, we can get one of them for? You know what he wants, right?
And Lee and I had talked, we've got a trailer behind our shed at the sheriff's office, but I looked at it and it would take, the frame that broke on it, it would just take way too much. So if we could get something that would be safe for him.
I just bought one.
Need something like a cattle trailer. Outside, and it, the back door opens all the way up.
It would need to be an open top, that way they can pitch the trash up, that way they wouldn't have to load it from the side.
And the good thing is to get one that lets down when they roll that big skidder tire up, they just roll it up in there and have that ramp.
And I know that there was an issue, I told him, I think they had to hook a rope to the skidder tire to pull it off or something. I told him to get with Lee the next time, and we could use some equipment to help him with that.
There's a problem with skidder tires, and I did talk to him about this too. We can't get rid of those.
Okay.
The tire, people go pick up all our tires, and take them,
Okay.
because they can't handle
Yeah.
them. So we struggle with those anyway.
But we don't need a legal out there. I mean, I know we're trying to figure out of disposing, but we don't need a legal out there.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, they should have done.
But they're a handful to deal with, so.
We did have an issue, we were circulating through some of the people that he is working. Of course, you know, it is jail. They didn't get there by obeying the law. So there is going to be times where we're going to be down a person or two, but right now we were able to replace 2 that I fired late Friday night. But we appreciate y'all doing that. I know he's doing a good job, and he appreciates y'all working with him. Lastly, I just want to say John did have surgery last week. He's going to be in and out of the office for a little while. He's not even supposed to drive, I think, for like 2 weeks. But he came in the office and worked a little bit today. But if there's anything that I can help y'all with, I'll be glad to. So, if y'all have any questions for us?
Yeah, give me your phone number.
256 591 7800.
7800.
Yes, sir.
Cause I tried to call John the other day, and then I got with somebody, and they said he had surgery, but,
Well, if y'all don't have anything, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
You got something in discussion?
I talked with Robbie about that wall. I think we need to have someone that lays brick and deals with brick to point that up instead of just keep pecking at it. That wall that comes down off top of the jail, I don't know if it would be better. So Robbie's gonna come look at it and see if we just cut the joints out that are real bad and grab them in. That smearing that stuff all over there is just another problem. So Robbie said he's gonna send one of his guys out, and he just charges time, once he tells me how much the time it is. So we'll get that, I'm gonna get him to point that wall up all the way down. And we didn't have, when the gutter was off, it wasn't leaking at all, was it?
I don't think it, well, of course, I don't think there was that big of a rain during that time.
But now that every time I've seen what they did at another place, look at this right here. And we ain't gotta do something as big as that, but there it is. It's, you know what big glass is? Put something like that over that big window glass, so when the rain does fall off, it's that's one thing I know. The same way Joe did all the other windows, with those awnings. We might have to wind up doing that one.
Well, I know and we're looking at the options for the flooring. I know John was working on that, and that was just, that flooring was so terrible in there anyways.
I've been dreaming about that floor. I don't know if we don't just need to do carpet squares. The reason why is because when that water gets under that vinyl, it's not going to dry up. It might be we just bite the bullet and put carpet in there. It'd make it quieter in there, But then if it does a little bit of water coming there, it'll dry right back out and won't create mold, because when that mold gets on that vinyl, there's no way for it to escape. So you might wanna talk to John and see if we just put, you buy those 2 foot by 2 foot carpet squares.
Okay.
But it needs to be the carpet, now some carpet squares have got the rubber backing on it, you don't want that, you want it where it breathes, where it'll dry back out. I'm just saying, I think that's what we're gonna want them to do, because I'm worried about it keep getting wet and not drying back out.
Y'all got anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Ford, do you have anything?
We collected the last 74 parcels. That's what we've got left to collect for property taxes, and I feel pretty sure we'll get most of those, if not all of them, paid by the first Tuesday of May, the tax sale. So that's what we're at this point in the venture. So we're close to the end, and we'll start back up and have board hearings in the next few weeks. We're completely ready for board hearings and have been approved for, I think, dates of May the 14th and 15th, I think, for the board hearings. So we'll get back up and rolling and start collecting again, getting ready to collect again. So y'all have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
I think Terry Eddie's got you first.
Like with Medicaid, Medicare, whatever it is,
The liens.
takes possession of a property,
Wow.
who pays that property tax?
Well, unfortunately, they are not they're not a paying agency, so they're never gonna pay that. So typically what you'll have happen is if the family, if they are not required to sell the property, the family can continue using that property forever and ever as long as they pay the property taxes on that. So a lien for Medicare only happens, is only satisfied typically when the property is sold, and then they expect that first payment, whatever the value of that property was on the day that they went into the nursing home, they expect that payment back if it's ever sold. They expect that back to Medicare. Everything above and beyond that would then go back to the family beyond that.
Okay, so there's a house, so I'm just
Yes.
leave it at that. The
Yes,
family's still living in the house.
yes, that's typical.
Okay, so if I came to you and we could find out if they've been paying property tax, and if they hadn't been paying property tax, what do you do then?
Okay, so if they have been falsifying the affidavit every year to saying that they live in the property and that they're over 65 and their income is under a certain amount and they're exempt from property taxes, and let's say that that person is deceased and now family members living there, that's something that I need to know, because that's what we do, is we remove their exemption, we change it to a class 2, and we make them prove that they're a family member living there to move it to class 3. But they will not get their exemption on that property. So they'll lose that. So yes, that would be, now typically, our appraiser's gonna find that out in the field. That it's either vacant or someone else is living there besides an over 65 individual. And we try to find those. But if they're signing an affidavit saying that they are the owner of that property and that they're over 65 and their income's still over that, and you can tell me that that's not happening, we can turn that over and we can escape them for up to 5 years on that property and get the taxes.
I'll come back and talk to you.
Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, you had a question as well. Did you?
In your office, something I don't like to talk about in here, especially if people looking to retire or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're close.
well, I'm just saying that you need to look at it that way.
Yeah.
I brought it up just to a couple of, just to talk about
Yeah.
it.
And unfortunately, we have really benefited from a state analyst in our office. They go out with the appraiser every time the appraiser hits the road. She's out there with them. Well, unfortunately, for the past 2 years, really closer to 3, we only have her part-time. And she's close to retiring age too. And we've been sharing her with 4 other counties up to this point. And if she retires in the 2 years that she's looking to retire, they may not send me anybody in the state analyst to our county because we're so small. So then that leaves an appraiser out in the field working by herself. It's not as efficient it's gonna be tough. We had, and I think I asked, but I wasn't available to come, I was actually in classes, but I'd asked about maybe potentially having either a part-time or a full-time person, and the full-time person worked during collections time up front and during the summertime out in the field with the appraiser. It might work, I don't know. But we are coming close. We've got a mapper that's got 40, I think she said 45 years in with us. She decided tomorrow she was leaving. We're going to be in a little bit of a hurt position. We do have one that has trained up to the point of taking the classes, but I think a couple of years ago y'all stopped us from having anybody that wasn't certified going to classes. So I don't know if that's still the case. But we've got one that's trained on most of those mapping classes. So I think she'll be able to slip in and do a good job in that if Melinda ever decides to retire. But she's talking about it, which makes me a little nervous. I'm getting a little ill right now, just talking about that. But we do have some that are going to be moving on probably in less than 5 years.
5 years. So,
Less than 5.
yeah, so you're saying, that we're saying that mappers can't go to class?
No, the girl that is not a mapper that would be moving into that position, she's got almost all the classes. You know, that's what we've been doing, is cross-training her up to this point. So she's taken all those Auburn University and the IAAO classes for the mapping so that she can get her certification. But by the time that mapper leaves, having the training, you know, we'll still have to have some classes before she can ever sit for that training, because you have to be in that job for like 3 years before you can even test for that.
So you have one part-time employee?
I have only one part-time, everybody else is full-time. I have my chief clerk, I have a file clerk, which is file/collections clerk, and she's my part-time person. She's on, she comes to work Monday, Tuesdays, Fridays. Those are typically our busiest days if we're having a part-time person. And then I have a full-time assessment clerk and a full-time appraiser and a full-time mapper. So that's what we have in our office. Where if I didn't collect, there'd be a lot of days where I'd only have one collection clerk up front. If I didn't sit up in that seat.
And so your part-time is only working 24 or 30 hours a week?
I think it's a 32-hour week, let's see, what, 8 times? Yeah, it's 32. I think anything under 35 is considered part-time. And so if they get to 35, they're considered full-time. So we stay under the 35 hours, is what we say, if that makes any sense. But we are collecting a lot more taxes. The county has grown in the tax base, and I know that the tax base makes a lot of things, a lot of gears move for the county as well, but we have grown, and a lot of people are selling stuff that they typically would not have in the past. I think families have died, and now the younger generation is saying, I don't want to live here, and so they're selling things that typically they wouldn't sell. So once they start doing that, people are building. We've had a lot of new builds in the last couple of years, and I know that y'all see it on the ground as well. We've just got a lot of moving parts to that, and so there may eventually be some need to have someone, especially out in the field, because I don't know about y'all, but it's just not safe to have one person in a vehicle out in the field. I don't even like to see it when I see the sheriff's department, you know, stopping somebody and I see one sheriff deputy out. It makes me nervous for them because people are crazy. And we just, you know, we look like we have some authority with that vehicle. You know, the decals on the side, we look like we might be, you know, somebody that might have some authority. And it's not, I mean, we shouldn't be that scary to people, but you know.
Now on their phone, they do have that fine located on the phone, right?
Yeah, the fine located on the phone, and
Just make sure they have that.
Yes.
Well, I just want to listen to you before budget time gets here, so we can
Yes,
have this conversation.
I'd really like to see that by next budget time, that we would, You know, I asked for a part-time person, but in reality, I need somebody that can go out in the field part-time and can be in the office part-time. And so I would split them between that. You know, on the days that I don't have my part-time person, I would pull that person for collections. And the days that I do have a part-time person, I would leave them out in the field with the appraiser.
So the person would work the front desk and out in the field.
That's correct.
So when, Ms. Taylor wasn't there.
Yes.
I don't know what she is, so I just.
She's my chief clerk.
Okay, chief clerk.
Yeah.
So,
She's me when I'm not there.
right, so if she's not there, I get, you know, y'all all schedule in your office like everybody else does.
Sure we
So
do.
if she's out for whatever reason,
I'm up front.
you're up front. But if you had your full-time person there 40 hours a week, then that person could sort of swap off with, and learn the ropes.
That's right.
And then as this other person moves over here,
Yes.
This
We got some people that have cross-trained and can move into positions and not put us in a bind. And I know that everybody in every job that they've ever had, if you don't cross-train, you've messed up. If someone else can't fill in a position, then you've messed up. I think everybody understands that. Yeah, yeah,
It ain't
for
like
sure.
working in the private sector. where
For
you
sure.
come in and-
For sure, because these jobs are very unique, and unless you're in county government, you don't know these jobs. Appraisal, yes, you could probably find an outside fee appraiser to fill those jobs. You're not gonna come in and work for what we pay them. But a fee appraiser that works for a bank, they have some similarities in that. Of course, they don't have a state manual that they go by. They go by actual sales, but you know, there's some things there that you could hire somebody on the outside coming in. But for most of those jobs, they're not relatable in the public world.
Okay, but I just
Yeah,
wanted
the
all,
private world.
I wanted that conversation to be said,
Yes.
so we'll all have that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that coming soon. I'd like to see that. And tell you the truth, I would like to leave it better than I found it. And it's going to be hard on the next revenue commissioner, whoever it is, because they're probably coming in blind unless you have somebody in the office that wants that job, and I can tell you right now, there ain't nobody in that office wants it. So, you know, they would be coming in blind in the
Well, wait a
future.
minute. So are we talking about somebody else that's not gonna be there?
No, my intentions are to run again, but you never know
Okay.
who you're gonna get, and that's why I said, I would like to leave it better than
Okay.
I found
As
it.
long as you're going, hang out there for longer.
Well, you never know what'll happen, I might die tomorrow, so
Don't say
you might
that.
get somebody else.
Let's go. Okay.
We have Mayor Brown and Officer Stiles here from Ranburne to come speak to us. I'm gonna get my drink here. I'm sorry.
I was gonna break it.
Well, might be.
You might get a little sprinkle on that right.
The money's going right. Ranburne is working with the chamber to have a rodeo in Ranburne this year in July. Lee come up and looked at our property that we're gonna have it on. He gave us a number about grading. We don't need the grading, we have that under control. What we was wanting to ask for was some help with some gravel. We need about 2 loads of gravel. That's really all we need. If y'all could help us with that, we'd be much appreciative of it. That's all I got, unless you've got questions.
So we're talking about 40, 50 yards of gravel?
About 40 tons.
Tons, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, about 40 ton of rock, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of cost are you talking about, Lee?
It, by the time we get loaded and everything, just 500 a ton, or 500 a load.
Well, 2 loads.
Yeah, so it'd be $1,000.
I can do that in my discretionary funds. I couldn't do what we was talking about to start with, but I can do 2 loads of gravel.
What kind of gravel you want? What size?
It needs to be at least 57.
Is that what we talked about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going, so the pipe, and the pull-off's already there, right?
Yeah.
So you just plan on just,
We're gonna gravel through the swag, through there until we get out on the grass, and then we'll park in the grass. And then we got a place in the back where we're gonna gravel, where it's gonna be an upgrade for the trailers coming out where they wanna park. All the stock trailers coming in, I wanna put a little gravel there so they can get back out in case of rain. And I may still wind up pulling some of them out with tractor if it rains, but
Okay.
we'll have equipment there to do that with. Anybody else have anything? Thank you.
All right, I think that's got everybody covered as far as officials, and we're moving down to awards and presentation, and I'm not aware of any. No, I'm sorry, bid openings, I skipped that. We have 2 bid openings, and we're asking you to open them both for us, Lee.
So the first one is gonna be, the sheriff's fleet maintenance bid. It's only got one bid, it's from Buster Miles. There's 4 items on it. Item number 1, which is the routine mechanical repairs, $89. Non-routine mechanical repairs, got 2 prices. Mechanical, if it's mechanical problems, it's $137 an hour. If it's an electrical issue or a diesel, it's $150 an hour.
So we say that first one was the oil change and stuff like
First
that?
one would be oil change.
Okay.
Tire rotating, that sort of thing.
Let me read that, what's this,
They would sublet towing on the,
sublet towing. All right, so the third item is for road calls, and so they're just towing the vehicle back to their service center, is how that would work.
How much is that?
They don't have a price on it, so it would be
just whichever
whatever,
tow company they can get.
whoever they get to tow it back and pay.
Well, one thing it was brought up that I wanna make sure that we do is on every card or whatever, that all the employees know. I guess they would have to call Buster Miles, but, Gary will go pick them up, so if your ladies are out on the road, you need to make sure, I always use Gary Cheatwood. He'll come pick, cause sometimes y'all got those cars, classes and stuff, he'll come pick you up, bring you back here, or to your car, or take you home. And so I just want y'all to know when y'all on the road, and y'all break down, as soon as that thing idles to the side, call him right away, and he'll have somebody there in a little bit. I know Lisa was worried about breaking down the side of the road, and I got to thinking, surely they know who to call. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up is if this is who we need to call, then we need to make sure that everybody knows who to call. Or is that just for the sheriff?
This right here is just for the sheriff.
So we still stick with Gary Cheatwood, so it's just something good. Even if y'all have got your own car, Gary is reasonable, but he'll come and pick you up and take you all the way back home.
The fourth item on that's just administrative, costs at $75 an hour for administrative rate. And that's the only bid we got for the sheriff.
Then you have another bid opening.
I have another bid opening, this is the mechanical repair for the rest of the county. I ended up with 2 bids on it.
Where's that from?
First one is Buster Miles.
we're talking Buster Miles forward, right, not Chevy. And that's the way that one was, I think.
We have
Like I said, Mr. Miles bid on the outside.
Buster Miles forward.
No.
We're talking forward.
Yeah, on this one, that's above.
That's forward.
Okay.
Yeah, it is Buster Miles forward.
It's 2 different pieces, so.
It's got 4 items on it, these are different items, just broken out by, basically the amount of hours I have worked on. So item number 1, routine or mechanical repairs, 0 to 3 hours. For gasoline vehicles, it's $137 an hour, for electric or diesel, it's $150 an hour. Mechanical repairs that take 3 to 8 hours, well, they're all 137. Electrical diesels, 150. Mechanical repairs over 8 hours, 137 to 150. And then the item number 4 is the parts markup, and they have submitted a matrix here. And so basically, based on the price of the part, determines the markup for that part. So,
How much is the oil change located in that part of that?
oil change, we'll do it at our shop.
That's what I thought.
This is just,
Okay, that's what I
This is
suspect
not-
what those questions are gonna be.
this is not routine, this is mechanical.
Okay, that's good.
And then the other bid that we got is, Phillips diesel repair. And he is at, 110 for the mechanical repairs. He does have a road call option of $100 per service call, plus the 110 per hour after that. And then he just has a straight 30% markup on parts.
Is that diesel?
Who's that?
That's diesel only.
That's for you, right?
Yes.
Where are they at? These on.
They are, well, Phillips Diesel Repair is the name of the company. They're outbound in Georgia Street, where this shop is. But my recommendation on that would be Buster Miles for the gasoline vehicles and Phillips for the diesel vehicles.
Now, do we need to add these to our agenda tonight? All three of these bids?
Yes, sir.
Or, okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Do we need to get John a copy of that?
He-
See,
He does.
he's got a copy of it?
No, so he doesn't need it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, see what his recommendation is, or see what Mr.
I
Nolan's
mean-
recommendation is.
We're good with whatever we need to do. It makes us feel better that we are still inside the county on it. That was our biggest concern was overtime and, the scare of having to have the deputies to run to Calhoun County and several vehicles. But we've worked with Busters before. They've serviced our vehicles before. We don't have any issues with Busters.
It's the same rates that they're quoting the county for the other
There's three towing companies in Cleburne County. There's Adams, there's Cheapwoods,
TCR,
TCR.
and then that all area. Totally as well.
Maybe we need
They get service.
price.
I think. But having that contract, it's up to the board to go who they want to use. We don't have to say so.
They do rotation.
So,
That's what I was going to recommend. The county, the sheriff has approved a rotation schedule throughout the whole year.
That's only for the sheriff when you're talking there.
Yeah.
Same for our county employees. I just don't want them to, if the rotation works and they can get there and get them, because they'll go to I've had them come pick me up in Birmingham and Atlanta.
We're not going to see it.
What our policy is with the rotation is they have to be en route within 15 minutes of the phone call. If they can't be en route within 15 minutes of the phone call, then they go to the next person.
And so who do you call when you do that?
It's whoever's on our rotation, whoever is.
So it's one number, 911, or who is it?
Yeah, dispatch has the rotation schedule, and then whoever we request, or whoever, if we request rotation, the dispatch just calls.
Even if they're out of the county.
that's what you need to.
Yeah, I'm just trying, while we're doing this, I'm trying to get the right number, because it was a,
If they're out of town, it's call 911 and tell them where they're at.
this 911 or the 911.
Yeah, I know, office.
I know, but if you're in Montgomery, it's not gonna ring up here.
There's a separate number.
638-911.
Oh, the number.
4638.
Okay, whatever that number is, make sure we got it in the vehicle, or you ladies have it when y'all leave town. I'm just trying to make sure we get this one off my list.
All right, let's,
Everything gets cheaper, I'm just trying to.
Oh, no, well, he'll be on the rotation too.
Right.
So, I just wanna make sure there's somebody else that
They
gets
got
it.
a number. Yeah.
all right, so we're looking at adding three separate bids for three rights.
So, is it three bids we're gonna have, is it two resolutions? You're gonna have one resolution for the sheriff's department bid with the recommendation of Buster Miles. And then you're gonna have the second resolution will be the county-wide mechanical bid, with a double award of Buster Miles for the gasoline engines, Phillips diesel repair for the diesel.
That's fine.
And do it just two.
Now, Phil's trying to get your, work on your stuff on side of the road.
Yes, sir.
I need a resolution too for 2 loads of gravel.
Yes, sir.
more, I'll be glad to help you with that. If need be,
What's that?
just so you know.
Well, they don't need more.
Phillips diesel.
Phillips.
You make it do that, you make it for that.
But you need to do that.
No. So if you want to just go ahead and contribute now, but I'm just one of those, I can do that. Right, we're gonna make that for, 4 lots of gravel. He's gonna pay for 2 and Terry's gonna pay for 2.
Okay.
But it says supposed to be
Yeah,
people. You, no?
yeah, I don't know, maybe easy to.
That's what they need to do, is have all the grading that it says there, they will put in. Okay, you know, you know.
They gonna plant their rice.
Yeah, we don't want grass, you don't put grass people, we don't put the grass.
Alright, we have, 2 other resolutions that were asked to be considered tonight, to be added also before I go through this.
Do you want to do the consent agenda first?
We can, yeah, and then we'll just go down to new business and add them, yes.
You don't know we're gonna pass that consent agenda?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at now, consent agenda first before we move to new business, and we'll add all those resolutions. I looked at the consent agenda, looked like everything was initial. I'll entertain a motion to
I
pass.
have a motion that we pass the consent agenda.
Okay, we have first and second, any discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have a resolution for the adoption of the assignment of an agreement. Whereas Cleburne County, Alabama, the county has received an award of coronavirus state and local physical recovery funds under the American Rescue Plan Act from the U.S. Department of Treasury. The whole, which has been duly designated as a revenue replacement funds, ARPA, in accordance with the final rule issued by the Treasurer on January 6, 2022. And whereas Cleburne County Commission is charged with ensuring that the county ARPA revenue replacement funds are expended in accordance with the state and federal law, whereas these funds may be used for the purpose of providing government services, including support of water, sewer, and infrastructure. And whereas the Cleburne County identified a water infrastructure project for the extension of certain water lines to citizens in rural areas of the county. And whereas on May 2nd, 2022, the county entered into an agreement with LAD Environmental Consultants Incorporated on behalf of the owner for design services related to that project. And whereas on November 16th, 2022, the county entered into a funding agreement with the Cleburne County Water Authority for reimbursement of costs to facilitate the project, including costs associated with design services included in the agreement. And whereas the parties acknowledge that the project and the water system will be owned and operated by the Cleburne County Water Authority and not the county. And whereas the parties wish to execute this assignment to the agreement to assign the obligations, duties, rights, and responsibilities of the agreement from the county to the Cleburne County Water Authority in order to better define the relationship and obligations between the parties consistent with the funding agreement and previous resolution dated November 16, 2022. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Commission as follows: the county hereby resolves to assign the agreement and all obligations, duties, rights, and responsibilities to the Cleburne County Water Authority as provided in Addendum 1 attached hereto. Nothing herein shall be construed to alter the relationship of the parties or obligations to reimburse the Cleburne County Water Authority consistent with the funding agreement and resolution dated November 16, 2022. So we'll I'll entertain a motion to add this to
Make a motion that we add this to the agenda.
to new business, okay?
New business.
We got first, second, any questions? All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion to pass that resolution that I just read, if you're content.
Make a
let's-
motion that we pass the
You
resolution.
don't want it read again, I'm glad. All right, any discussion? Yes.
Hey, this, agreement is supposed to be attached, is that what Mike and we were talking about the other day? It's just not attached, okay.
There was just some wording in this that was changed.
You're
content with all this wording out, you just get it. All in favor, saying aye? Did you get the motion, first and second? Looking at, also adding a resolution to the new business, whereas the Cleburne County Engineer Department's request the Cleburne County Commission to authorize surplus of equipment that is no longer useful as follows: a lowboy trailer with a serial number 70252, and it's, goes back, I guess, dated to October of '70. I was 5 years old. Therefore, the Cleburne County Commission hereby authorizes the surplus of this equipment. I'll ask,
Make a motion to edit.
to add a second. Any discussion? All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. I'll now entertain a motion to pass it.
I make a motion to pass.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. All right, looking for a resolution to award the bid to, this is concerning the sheriff mechanical bid.
Make a motion.
Buster, I'll forward to add it.
Second.
All maintenance, not just mechanical.
Oh, all maintenance, okay.
Okay, we just added it now, right?
Yeah, we're just adding it.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay, is that second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. Entertain a motion now to pass that.
I'll make a motion to pass the
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. All right. Now we have a resolution to award Buster Mile Ford for the road department and Phillips Diesel, the road department.
All other county vehicles.
All other county vehicles, okay.
I'll make a motion to edit.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. Now to pass it.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. Okay, now I think that covered that. Resolution for gravel. We're looking at adding a resolution for, I think, I guess we have to do this together jointly, but a resolution from your discretion, $1,000, is that right? And from your discretion, $1,000 for gravel?
Well, I'm gonna say 2 loads up to 1,000.
Okay, up to 1,000, 2 loads. You good with that too, Mr. Hill, for that resolution? To add to the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
I'll give it to Mr. Hill.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Wait a minute, all in favor saying aye? Carries. Now to pass the resolution.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second.
We're getting out of rhythm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You just gotta get up.
Y'all just blow my mind. There's sometimes y'all just drag around, and then tonight it's like, we getting out of here tonight.
I don't think so.
We're hungry.
Yeah, is there a big basketball game on tonight or
I
something?
told my wife I was getting home while dinner was warm.
On that parking lot, I don't think we do it for a couple months anyway, right?
All in favor saying aye? Motion passed. That got everything, right? Anything else y'all want to add?
And we didn't actually go over what Lisa left us.
No, we're good. Yeah, let's go ahead and answer.
Okay.
Staff.
He is ready to get this done.
He is. But I appreciate that. Miss Emily, you want to read that? I think she had said that you were going to read what she had. Her notes.
She has informed all the departments except for the sheriff's department that the engineering department will be used for the vehicle maintenance. She sent out bid invitations for sheriff's vehicle maintenance to be open today. She gathered information to get an estimate for sales tax on grocery items, which for fiscal year '22 added up to $463,000. The CDBG closeout information for East Alabama reports and documents she got gathered. She created and gathered 8 resolutions to be used for agendas. Her and I both attended the general accounting class in Prattville last week. She has been in contact with the IEC to update a project and expenditure report for ARPA funds, which is due April 30th, and to prepare an obligation and expenditure report, which is due at the end of the month on March 31st. The reconciliation of JSU contract revenues and expenditures. She has gathered information about the agreement with Hearts to reimburse a portion of utility bills for community action.
Wait a minute, so we're gonna address any of these questions that we're asking?
Yeah, you have a question on which
Well, on
one?
this parts, do we need to, how is that?
That contract's up in June or July 1.
I do know that there is a contract that, that is renewed, I think it was every 5 years. She was gonna give it to y'all at the work session next month. I think.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And right now, they don't have any office facilities for East Alabama. But that was what the last contract was contingent on, so they don't do that anymore, so.
For community action.
Yeah, community action, you moved it out.
I'm sorry, yes.
Community action is separate now.
But it's not due until, is it June or July?
I'm gonna say it's June, because I think it needs to be.
So you're gonna bring it to us, I just wanna make sure it's something we need to add now.
Yes.
Hey.
There was payroll direct deposits for 86 employees twice and 18 employees once, for a total of 190 direct deposits. 16 payroll transfers from various departments to payroll account, 410 AP invoices entered, 126 AP checks issued, 21 AP transfers from various departments to AP account, 11 end-of-month transfers to support budgeted items, 46 bank reconciliations, conference call with Commissioner Hendricks, county engineer Lee Estes, and members of the USDA concerning the watershed dams, updated and sent ethics commission listing for those required to file, and reminded everyone to complete their statement of economic interest by April 15th.
Yeah. By the way, did everybody get a chance to file your other thing with Secretary of State? It's in January.
That was a late Canada's one.
Canada.
No,
we have to do
everybody
it
has
year
to
in
file every year.
Even employees at a certain grade, that's
On economics, but
You're talking about two separate.
two different things. I just was reminding y'all too.
Yeah, statement is not right.
But
You had me sweating over here.
But you do have to file with Secretary of State on a yearly basis
Every
in
year.
January.
I thought that was only if you ran.
That's
No,
only
it's every year.
I mean, I haven't done both mine, but anyway.
Well, I would just say, you know, I forgot about mine and,
I think I have to call them.
yeah,
I thought you only.
I got a warning letter, I didn't get mine.
Go down to, I'll get signed here, but I thought it was only when we were running. I got everything so confused this year.
Yeah, it's every January, it's due by the end of January. But then that may be things that economic person, anyway.
She did add the JSU report of the reconciliation that was on the report. She added the from fiscal year 18.
Yes, person.
On the consent agenda and everything, to make things move smoothly, we'll talk about it. I come up with the idea of giving us 2 weeks between the work session and this meeting. One was to make sure that we wouldn't have interference. But one thing to remember is our attorney he's not a full-time employee. And I was gonna have this for her, but I think it needs to be addressed now so we can make things. I don't want stuff sent to him on Thursday, knowing it's already supposed to be out. So the agenda, when we get through our work session, we still want it to be complete, at least by that Monday. If he needs to read something, I don't want him to have to struggle to get that done because he's in court and everything. So I was doing that to make it easy on everybody, not just one person. So I just, and I'll bring that up again, but I think you need it in time to be able to look at it. If you need to make changes and get it back so we can have it, before Friday afternoon. Since we got 2 weeks, I'd like to have it that Thursday. And I'd like to get to him by Wednesday. What do you think, Bud?
It helps to have the additional time.
Yeah, because in other words, I don't want to get it now to where it's 2 weeks and we're still doing the same thing that we were doing before we done it. So I just want to bring that up so we'd all be in the open air about it and won't get to a.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the purposes that we did, it was to not to be getting the agenda on a Friday and we're voting on Mondays and we don't have time to talk to anybody about it, because we're sending it out on Friday and then we're voting, we're coming back in here on Monday. No, that doesn't work.
And I think it's great that y'all getting it checked, and I think that's great, send it to our attorney, but, you know, I'd like for him to have it by Tuesday or Wednesday, at least by Tuesday. But that gives you, a whole week to have it just to him. Then he will review it and see if any problems with it, and then we'll have it by Thursday, correct? Or unless he's, you know, sick or hurt or something, then it might be that we'll get it for Friday.
Mr. Hendricks?
Going back to the sales tax on groceries, I had talked to Lisa about that, and maybe one of these ladies, I don't know, one of y'all have to try to get the figures up, I'm not sure, but that 463,000 is split between Board of Education and us, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And these are all rounded off figures, I mean, because they don't break it down. Which if they do pass this, they'll have to start breaking it down. Don't, that's not my problem. But those figures there are just, she used a percentage. Maybe one of y'all can explain exactly how you done it, or?
I don't know, I'd have to ask Lisa how she did that.
I mean, she took the total figures and used the percentage for grocery stores, which was like 90
Yeah, I
or
think
something.
like convenience stores, I think she, or like, I'm not sure the grocery stores, but like Dollar General or Family Dollar, you're gonna have that as groceries.
Yeah.
So that's why she did like 50% on some of those.
So that figure
That's
there is
what
just a
it is.
ballpark figure. I mean, it
Yeah.
may be higher and it may be a little lower, but it's ballpark.
And I reached out to Avenue and the Department of Revenue, trying to figure out if they could give us some kind of report pointing in the right direction to get, I mean, just grocery tax. And they don't have one. So I got a list of all the people, and so I said we had to weed it out, pull out grocery stores, you know, gas stations to kind of come up with some kind of number to be able to show you.
Well, I know when we're at cash register, when they tag it in, you know, if you buy a Coke and a pack of crackers,
Goes in the
Yeah.
grocery.
goes in groceries, and then if you,
But
You
they
know-
don't report it that way because it's all the same. But
Yeah.
if they do pass this, then they'll have to be broken down, but, I mean, we're gonna be losing almost $250,000, you know? So it might be something, I don't know that
Did we find out though, would it affect?
I don't know, we already found out.
I did ask, and I can't remember, I need to follow back up on that.
Would you reach out to Chad
Yeah.
and see? I mean, I don't know what they're trying to pass.
See what it
There's
is.
a couple of different bills in consideration right
Yeah. We're wondering if they do take away the sales tax on groceries, we have local tax, a 1 cent sales tax, and a 1 cent school tax. Would it come off of groceries too?
now. Depends on how they write it. State
Yeah.
legislation.
so that 1 cent sales tax was to fund the jail, to run into the jail, too. That would hurt.
Well, it may or may not. What I'm saying, that 2 cent may still be in there. That's what we gotta find out. But
You gotta
he said
find
it's out if it's the way.
If they
it's-
put it in there that it strips off all sales taxes to include local, then that would be a situation. But
Right.
I don't think that's in either version of those.
You gotta replace it.
Well, then,
Create
like,
another tax.
what Joyce brought up too about some of the property tax, I mean, we're gonna keep on to, it adds up quick. And, we need to stay on top of that. I mean, I know some of the politicians like it because they're gonna get some votes out of it, which I guess I'm supposed to be a politician, but we gotta run the county first, you know. We start taking away money and everything going up.
So if they're taking away all sales tax on groceries,
Well, it's like what Jason said, it's according to whatever they pass.
There's one bill that says that, there's one bill that says they're gonna start taking 1% a year over a certain period of time. There's one that says they're gonna look at actual, needs-based, for instance, it's completely up in the air right now.
How would they know the need base?
Look at who's finding the low poverty line.
I mean, I guess people would have to have kind of the, what is it?
If someone's on food
The
stamps,
card, the other, I think, what is it?
WIC,
Would it be a card?
But anyway, I think it's something we need to stay on top of.
And that's been an issue already.
all those things are up in the
I
air.
mean, it was, you know, I see it all the time.
Mr. King?
Yes, I would like to know if we learned anything from the call on watersheds issue.
I mean, I was gonna speak about that when it got down to our discussion, but I can do it now.
Yeah, that's fine with me if you want.
I mean, we didn't find out anything. I mean, we just had more people that said, we're not gonna put it in writing, and I guess what started out, which we recorded a conversation, if you want a copy of it, I'll give it to you, about 25-minute conversation. But, okay, who owns the watersheds? Okay, both the guys on the call says, we own the dam, and I said, well, give me some paperwork. We don't have any paperwork, but you gotta own the dam. And finally, they give up on that, then they said, okay, so you have to have an easement to get to it, so the Attorney General has ruled that easement's good as a deed, and I call bullshit on that, because that ain't right. And, but, excuse me, I shouldn't say that. But anyway, then we moved on, and I asked about the watersheds on federal land, could we get rid of those? Vernon, the guy that sent us the letter, he said, we don't have to deal with that. And I said, well, that's great, but then the other guy on the call, he said, whoa, wait a minute, yeah, you do. So, you know, they already know what they're doing, so, anyway, we kept going. And finally, the other guy, not Vernon, I can't remember the guy's name, I should have written it down. He said, maybe we need to get the lawyers involved. And I said, I want to bring a lawyer, and Vernon said not to bring a lawyer, he wouldn't talk to me. But anyway, so I said, okay, so who do I sue? And you could hear the pin drop then. I said, well, if you're gonna bring lawyers into it, then you gotta have a judge to rule on it, so somebody's gotta sue somebody. And then at that point, they said, have our attorney send them a letter. And I asked for what they wanted written in the letter, and Jason read the letter a while ago, and it's pretty much ain't nothing. So, and Mike Rogers' office hadn't got back to me on it, so we nowhere closer than we were.
But I can go forward and write a letter based upon the tasking that the commission made at last month's meeting. And I told Commissioner Hendricks, once I can listen to that tape, that we'll get that.
And we're gonna have copies made to take, if anybody wants one, which you probably don't wanna listen to me, because I probably said worse than what I said while ago sometimes.
Well, we won't listen there. Lee, you okay. Mr. Oden?
Beyond what we just discussed, on the request for the sewer ordinance under the Limited Self-Governance Act, I've gotten some information from Cherokee County. They were one of the first ones to do that. I've gotten some of their documentation, and I'm researching some other counties and municipalities to put that together. So it's coming, it hasn't dropped off the radar, but I'm gathering information to see other people that have done it, so we hopefully can learn from their mistakes.
I have a question, because I had met with the health department a couple weeks ago, and travel trailers is also one that they're having issues with, that people are buying those and living in them, and they don't have sewage, so someone knows that's gonna have to be linked in.
Yeah, you call
And I'm sure
them,
they've had that problems in the other county too, because we're seeing more and more people living in these travel trailers.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you have holding tanks, and then you have, dumping tanks.
Dump stations usually.
Yeah, well, no, you have tanks that you can dump yours in, like on the lake, like at the lake, we have dumping tanks. But then we have to have someone to come in and empty that, and we have to show, you know, and that's the same thing, you know, here. If they're using those, somewhere or another, they got to prove. So I don't know how it all works out, but that was one of the things.
That's all I have.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Let me say one more thing about the watershed. I did find out that there's 107, correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, 107 watersheds in the state of Alabama. We have 15.
We got 16.
We got 16, Clay County's got 12. So we've got 25% of all the watersheds between those two counties for the whole state. So a lot of these counties don't give a crap. But like Clay County and Talladega, they're looking to see what we're gonna do for what they're gonna do moving forward.
Well, if we do anything, we're gonna go broke, so I guess we're gonna do that. Ain't that right? I don't know, $5-6 million playing out in the boat. That's what I would do.
Well, you can't open the balance of house no longer there. We got
My
some of
dad
the
is still alive,
balance.
we go.
Please do it down.
You get down on it.
No, really, I guess there's any old business, right? Any other discussion items? Yes, sir.
HR left us these pay raise that she came up with for us to be looking over. And I guess we were looking to implement or not implement for the upcoming budget, we're halfway through the year. So those are the copies of what she come up with. And I guess we need to look over them and discuss them next month, or.
We also need, I think, to consider, in our book, handbook, looking at when you move from one department to another. We kind of had a conflict that kind of popped up, and we just didn't see it coming. And where one department offered another job that someone was pursuing, and we need to put in something that you gotta put in, or work out some sort of notice. I don't know how to handle that. Yeah, because, kinda caught things off guard. I wanted to be a team player, but, and they did put in a notice, but it wasn't 2 weeks, they just put in the 86 hours. So I think we talked to, Mr. Odom about it, and he cautious as either way, you know, I had made the offer, and then she immediately put in her resignation and worked out, said she'd worked this, but we really should have worked something else out better.
Well, I guess if they go into a job that pays more too.
They're actually coming to a lesser job. It was
Oh, Lord.
for 911, but it's better for their lives.
Well, do we need to just let Jason write it up in our handbook or it was covered?
What do you think about it, Jay?
I mean,
Certainly can.
it would be better just to task him to do that.
Just so that, we work out something so that anyone who knows them before they leave.
Well, even if they've got another job coming here, most people work out 2 week notice, even if they're just coming to that job. So I think it's only fair to our other department heads to put something together. Like if somebody was in Joyce's office going to Ryan, or Ryan's office going to Joyce, I think they'd both have to come and practice, not to want to take that person without.
And before I made the offer, I did talk to the department head and say, hey, I'm fixing to make an offer. And she was aware, it was out of 911, she was aware that and she said, yeah, I understand. And the minute I made the offer, they put in their resignation. And, but it left her in a bad position.
So you said, but they put in an 86-hour notice?
Yeah.
Well, that is 2 weeks, huh?
I know, but it's not really, it's hours, but not 2 weeks.
Oh,
Because they work different shifts.
oh, I see what you're saying now, okay.
Kind of put them in a bind, 911 in a bind. So if it's something that we could work out in our handbook so that we go
I'm
forward.
looking at it.
So, thanks Emmett and Fred for y'all working on getting the new, drop ceiling in the courthouse.
They sure seemed a lot warmer in there this morning,
It's
didn't it?
great. It's really nice.
It was like turn that heat down.
And I
Did you have that same thing when it happened? Because it gets that airflow more where it needs to be. Because in Ryan's office, I put it over by the doors, and that really helped.
He has a better heating and air system than I do.
But you got 2 5-ton units.
It's terrible. Well, I don't know if it's the intake or what, but we've been discussing that today. We've had to keep it at about 78.
Is this, because your unit is in, her office.
My office in the back is so cold, it doesn't matter if you've got it on 78 or 63. That room, my office in the back has no heat at all.
And there's a duct in there, right?
Yes.
We just need to do a flow test on it and see.
Yeah.
I got one more.
yes, sir.
On this DSU deal, has everybody looked at that? How do we need to address that? Is that something to do in the year's budget? We losing money on that deal.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor saying aye.
Tater time.